y'all doing? Y'all good? Okay. What do I gotta do? Okay. Is it alright if I sit down? I seriously didn't think anybody was gonna be here, so I'm sorry about being a little I'm kind of stunned actually. Oh wow, well fuck no.
We love you. Woo. Family.
I got it. I'm assuming a lot of you can hear this, right? Yeah. Know of me from JCW, or some of you who are a little bit older remember WCW and some of the things we've done. And,
I'm gonna use your arm, okay?
Every now and then I pop up in the Juggalo world, and it's just really cool. Fuck, this thing is really starting to bother me, this feedback. I know. I asked for, they said to me this year, what can you do? What do you want to do? I said, well, where I live in Latin America, I do a spoken word tour. And they said, okay, well, you're going to do something here like that, and then you'll wrestle in the evening. And I said, okay. So the way I think I should do this is explain to you a little bit why I do this, and I want to tell you some really cool shit. And then I was hoping to have like a question and answer type thing, if you're into that. Is that cool? Want to do it like that? Okay. Well, I grew up in the 70s. So I grew up, I was right there when punk rock happened, like the second wave. At the end of the Sex Pistols and the Ramones, and I was right there. I went to all those shows. I went to all the shows in New York City and CBGB's when hardcore was happening, and definitely in Los Angeles. So I grew up as a musician. I played in bands, and that's where I came from. But I was also a hockey player. I was a hockey prodigy in Canada. So when I started getting a little bit older and I started getting interested in girls, my dedication to sports started to wean a little bit and lean more on music, but I got drafted into the NHL when I was 13 years old. They wouldn't let me go to play with older people because of my age, but I was this size when I was 13, so I kind of started getting really bored with organized sports, and I had to make a choice: become a musician or become an athlete. And that's when I fell in love with pro wrestling, because I saw that in pro wrestling you could mix the two of those things and kind of create this little world of yours. So that's how I kind of got into what I got into. The reason I wanted to speak with you today is because of that background. I remember when I got a call from WCW, and at that time I'd already been wrestling in Mexico for 13 or 14 years, and they said, we want to do this thing with music, and we have this band, but we don't know who to put them with, and we know that you're involved and all that stuff. So they said, you know, this band ICP, have you ever heard of them? And it was so freaky because that same day I had this magazine, I think it was Circus or something, because my friend Steve Jones, who played guitar in the Sex Pistols, was playing on this band's album called Insane Clown Posse. And I had no fucking clue about Insane Clown Posse. And I'm talking like 1996, 7, something like that. And because I was, you know, in Mexico and I was doing something completely different. So when I started to study what was the Insane Clown Posse, and when I was growing up in New York City, and we used to go to, you know, when I started in music, it was the beginning of hip hop, the beginning of punk rock, and the beginning of disco. And all of those genres were mixed together. You would go to a club And that's what was going on, and all these people were coexisting and co-creating this fucking amazing, wonderful new world of music, and this culture, and this fashion, and DJing was new, MCing was new, house parties, block parties, that's kind of where I understood the way things are supposed to be. So when I started reading about the Insane Clown Posse, what really freaked me out more than anything was this movement called the Juggalos. Yeah, because I had only seen that one time before, and that was when punk rock started, and then the whole Sex Pistols thing happened in England, and it happened for a completely different reason, but there was this movement, and I'm a very, very, very loyal poor imitation of Joe Strummer from The Clash. He's, to me, my idol, and he's just somebody who moved me as an artist because of his ability to not sell out. I remember when London Calling came out, and it was a double album, and I remember, you know, I know when Joe and Joey, they say, you know, scrubs and all that kind of stuff. Look, motherfuckers, I was a scrub before your fucking parents were even thinking about you, so we understand each other. And it was like $9.99 for a double album. Like, there's no way. I gotta do an armed robbery, I gotta sell some weed at school, I gotta fucking whack somebody, I gotta do something because I don't have that kind of money. But the Clash refused to charge high ticket prices, and they refused to charge for a double album. They sold the album for $5.99. So back then, that was like $100, you know what I mean? And it was like, what really made me fall in love with alternative music culture was that the real deal is going to take care of the real deal. You don't need to stake your fans for every single thing, because that's just not what this is about. So I had that mentality from a real early beginning in my love affair with music. And that's what made me fall in love with the ICP culture. ICP are like family to me. We've been together for 22 years. The brotherhood is unbreakable. But it's not because of the fanboy scenario. It's just because we have so much in common. And the common thread is the Juggalo lifestyle and the Juggalo culture. And I truly believe, you know, a lot of you know of me like we established because of this, but there was a time at the beginning of my career, like I was involved in one of the biggest scandals in music, in the history of pop music, ever. There's just no other way to tell you. I was a street kid, gang member, organized crime, ultra fucking Justin Bieber type teen idol famous at one time. I don't understand my life. I don't get it. And when I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, post-traumatic stress, Parkinson's, and an enlarged heart, all in the same doctor's appointment, so my day went real well. And they gave me a few months to live. And this was right around the time when Lucha Underground started. I was 360 pounds, I was in a wheelchair, and I was being fed drugs by the medical community to control my pain. And I was like, you're killing me. And they just didn't stop. So I remember the day it happened. I was walking. Is this kind of story okay? Or do you want me to change gears? Because there is a point to all this.
Family!
Okay.
Family!
I'm only asking because that guy who came in right now with the G-string on just kind of fucking threw me.